Thus of the Black Banner the Galactic Empire was vast, its dominion stretching across thousands of star systems, crushing resistance wherever it arose. The conquest of humanity had been a bloody campaign, but after decades of war, Earth stood defiant. Though break their will, the Empire took an unforgivable step, executing 1,200 human children from a captured colony. The Imperials thought it would send a message. They did not realize they had just signed their own death warrant, because among those children was the son of General Sarah Farinder, the Black Banner of humanity. A woman whose name alone made entire Imperial fleets shudder. She did not weep. She did not grieve. She did not bury her son. She sharpened her knives. The reckoning begins. General Arinder had led humanity's forces for over a decade, turning ragtag resistance into a war machine feared across the stars. She had outmaneuvered admirals, slaughtered entire battalions, and turned planetary uprisings into full-scale revolutions. Yet, nothing in her long career had ever ignited the pure, burning hatred she felt now. She gathered her war council in the hidden human stronghold of Edon's Wake, deep in the asteroid fields of the Helios Rift. This isn't war anymore, she said. This is annihilation. The Empire will not survive me. Kid officers, hardened veterans who had fought by her side for years, saw something terrifying in her gaze, something colder than vengeance. It was the look of a mother with nothing left to lose. The butchering of Tarvas, her first strike, was swift. The imperial colony of Tarvas, once a thriving stronghold of the Empire, was reduced to ruin in a single night. Arinder and her ghost legion infiltrated the city under the cover of darkness, eliminating every imperial officer and governor with brutal precision. When the sun rose, Tarvas was no more. Not a single imperial survived. The streets ran red with the blood of her enemies, and in their place, she left one thing, a banner, drenched in imperial blood. A black flag, the symbol of her warpath. The imperial response. Panic spread through the Empire like wildfire. The massacre of Tarvas was unlike anything they had faced before. It wasn't just war, it was retribution. The Imperial High Council convened an emergency session, and Grand Marshal Varric Tiberius swore an oath: find her. Kill her. In this madness. But the Empire was already too late. Sarah Farinder had moved again. Point 1 by E1. Imperial strongholds fell. Point 1 by E1. Entire regiments disappeared without a trace. Wherever she struck, she left behind the same message, scrawled in the blood of her enemies: you took 1,200. You will take 12 million. The last stand of the Empire. The impetus desperation grew. The once mighty fleets of the Imperium, untouchable in their supremacy, were now hunted. In a final act of defiance, the Emperor himself ordered a last stand at Caron's Gate, the impetus' most fortified bastion. The Black Banner fleet came like wraiths from the void. What followed was not a battle. It was slaughter. By Edon, the once mighty Imperial fleet was wreckage, their armies shattered. And at the heart of the ruins, Sarah Farinder stood upon the ashes of the Empire, the black flag of her vengeance planted firmly in Imperial soil, and she whispered the last words the Empire would ever hear: now we are even. Epilogue. The legend of the Black Banner. The Galactic Empire ceased to exist. Its dominion crumbled, its worlds abandoned to chaos. Humanity rose from the ruins, free and unchained, and Sarah Farinder, she vanished. Some say she disappeared into the void, her vengeance complete. Others believe she still lingers in the dark corners of the galaxy, waiting for another empire to make the mistake of crossing her. But one thing is certain: wherever the Black Banner flies, an empire will fall. As of a mother, the price of arrogance. The Galactic Empire had always considered humanity a minor threat, a stubborn species with a penchant for defiance, but ultimately manageable. They had crushed human rebellions before, burned colonies to the ground, and enslaved millions, but they made a fatal mistake. On the world of Rylos V, an imperial purge took place, meant to break the human resistance in the sector. The Empire didn't take care who they killed: civilians, rebels, or children. And so, 1,200 human children were rounded up and executed as an example. What the Empire did not know, what they failed to realize, was that among those children was the son of General Celeste Rain, a woman whose very name struck fear into the hearts of the Impetus High Command. They did not just kill children, they made an enemy they could never defeat. The message: Celeste Rain was in deep space, leading a strike force against an Imperial outpost. When the news arrived, her fleet had been cutting into Imperial supply lines, striking where they least expected. She was a ghost, a legend, The human war machini's sharpest blade, but when she received the transmission, something inside her broke. The message was simple, grainy footage from Rilos V. Children lined up, their faces streaked with dirt and tears. Then came the executions. No hesitation. No mercy. Her son, Elias, was among them. The moment the feed ended, the bridge of her command ship, the Iron Vow, went silent. Hit officers waited, expecting an explosion of rage. Instead, Celeste simply stood up, her voice as cold as the void. Admiral Bass. Her second-in-command straightened. Yes, General. Prepare the fleet. We are going to burn them to the ground. No mercy. Celeste did not attack blindly. She studied the enemy. She waited, then she struck. The first target was the planetary governor who had signed the execution order. Celeste's forces infiltrated his palace, sealed every exit, and pumped the ventilation systems full of a corrosive gas that liquefied flesh. The governor and his staff died screaming. The second target was the imperial garrison that had carried out the massacre. Celeste did not just kill them, she erased them. After disabling planetary defenses, she orbital bombed their entire sector until nothing remained but molten rock. The third target was Admiral Barincos, the man who had authorized the purge. Celeste personally hunted him down, boarding his flagship and slaughtering his crew, deck by deck. When she reached him, she did not offer him a soldier's death, she spaced him, alive, his screams fading as the vacuum of space silenced him forever. The Empire trembled. Celeste's wrath was not just personal. It was tactical. She crippled supply lines, destroyed shipyards, and turned Imperial officers against each other through misinformation and sabotage. Her fleet grew as defectors and revenge-seekers joined her cause. The Empire tried to stop her. They sent fleets, assassins, and even entire legions. None of them returned. The whispers spread. The Empire killed a mother's son. Now she is killing the Empire. The Emperor's mistake desperate. The Emperor himself issued an edict. Bring me Celeste Rain. Alive or dead. The Empire massed its largest armada in history at Torrent Prime, baiting Celeste into a final confrontation. She came, but not alone. She had spent months preparing. Smuggled warships. Saboteurs within the Imperial ranks. Heathen warships. The battle was not a battle. It was a massacre. Hundreds of Imperial ships fell. The Emperor, watching from his throne world, knew then that he had lost. The end of an empire. Celeste reign did not stop until the empire itself fell. When she reached the imperial capital, the people revolted before her fleet even fired a shot. The emperor tried to flee. Didn't they make it far? Celeste stood over his battered form, her eyes empty of mercy. You killed my son, she whispered, and then she ended the empire with a single bullet. Epilogue, a name that will never be forgotten. The war ended. The Galactic Empire was no more, and throughout the galaxy, one name was spoken in hushed, reverent tones, not as a hero, not as a villain, but as a warning: Celeste Rain. The mother who brought down an empire, wrath of the Iron Widow. The Galactic Empire believed itself untouchable. Its armies spanned thousands of worlds, its fleets controlled the stars, and its grip on civilization was absolute. But empires do not fall to armies alone. They fall to the wrath of those they underestimate, and the Empire had made a mistake. They had taken 1,200 human children, orphans, refugees, and political prisoners, gathered them in a labor facility on a barren world, and executed them as an example. They thought it would break humanity's spirit. They did not know that among those children was the son of General Saria Kale, the Iron Widow of the Outer Reaches. They did not know that the woman they had scorned had once brought entire planets to their knees. They did not know that she had nothing left to lose. The silent war begins the day she learned of her son's death. Saria Kale did not weep. She did not scream. She did not mourn. She planned. Her forces were scattered. Remnants of the war humanity had lost years ago. The Empire believed her broken. But like a shattered blade reforged in fire, she would make herself whole again. In the dark void between systems, she gathered the lost, the damned, and the vengeful. Former rebels, pirates, and defectors. Humans and aliens alike who had suffered under the Empire's boot. She promised them one thing: vengeance. The Empire had waged war with armies and fleets. Saria Kale would wage war with terror and ruin. The fall of the unseen. Her campaign began in silence. The first attack was not a battle. It was a message. An imperial governor, the one who had signed the death order for the children, vanished from his palace. His guards were found with their throats slit. Days later, the gobernor's body was